Every single morning, over 60 million Americans open a freezer, pull out a cardboard box, and feed their families in under 3 minutes. You do it because life moves fast, time is scarce, and the labels on these boxes offer a comforting promise. Whole grains, real fruit, protein-packed, made with heart-healthy ingredients. For decades, we've trusted these words. We've assumed that a product sitting on a major grocery shelf in the United States must meet a baseline standard of quality and honesty. But when you look past the warm vintage graphics and bright commercial slogans, a very different picture emerges. Over the last 6 months, an investigation into the supply chains, formulation changes, and hidden corporate acquisitions of America's top frozen breakfast brands revealed something troubling. Formulations quietly tweaked to cut costs, synthetic additives masking as wholesome farm ingredients, ultra-processed fillers replacing real food, and emulsifiers that European regulators have flagged for years, while American consumers remain completely in the dark. Out of 13 major brands tested and analyzed, 10 failed to meet basic standards of ingredient integrity and nutritional honesty. But 3 brands did something so radically transparent, it completely changes how a quick morning meal should be made. And the biggest deception of all wasn't found in a cheap generic brand, but in the single most trusted household name in American history. To understand how frozen breakfast became a landmine of ultra-processed deception, you have to look at how these products are actually evaluated. This isn't about counting calories or obsessing over fat grams. It comes down to 4 strict criteria: ingredient integrity, oil quality, sugar concentration, and corporate transparency. When a box claims to fuel your day but relies on hydrogenated oils, artificial flavor enhancers, and ultra-processed binders just to survive frozen shelf life, that isn't convenience. It's a compromise your body pays for later. Number 10 on the list starts with a brand that defined American childhoods. For over 50 years, Jimmy Dean has been synonymous with the classic American morning. Farm-fresh imagery, country sausage, and wholesome country heritage earn the trust of millions of busy families. When people buy the Jimmy Dean biscuit sandwich, they think they're getting real eggs, slow-cooked pork sausage, and freshly baked biscuits. The reality on the back panel tells a completely different story. The egg patty inside isn't just an egg. It's a liquid mixture containing modified food starch, water, soybean oil, and artificial flavor compounds engineered to keep the egg looking fluffy after months in sub-zero storage. The sausage patty relies heavily on textured vegetable protein fillers and sodium phosphates to lock in moisture artificially. Instead of simple farm cooking, you are consuming a complex matrix of industrial preservatives designed for maximum shelf life at minimum production cost. The country kitchen image stayed, the original recipe vanished, and if you think switching from sausage to waffles is a safer bet, the next brand proves that golden brown nostalgia can be just as misleading. At number 9, Eggo Waffles represents the ultimate staple of frozen breakfast convenience. Marketed heavily to parents for generations, the iconic tagline built a psychological bridge between warm home baking and instant food. Millions of parents popped a toaster waffles into the machine every morning, believing they are giving their kids a warm, grain-based foundation for the school day. What consumers actually get is an ultra-processed dough made primarily from refined yellow flour. Vegetable oil blends high in omega-6, fatty acids, and synthetic leavening agents. The golden color doesn't come from thorough baking, but from added yellow dyes and caramel colorings. The crispiness is engineered using soy lecithin and sodium acid pyrophosphate to ensure the waffle doesn't collapse during thawing. The homemade comfort was marketed as the industrial shortcut was packaged. Yet, the illusion of wholesome baking gets even more aggressive when a brand claims to bring authentic bakery-style pastries straight to your toaster. Number 8 is Pillsbury Toaster Strudel, built as the fun, fruit-filled rival to dry toaster pastries. This product won over suburban households by promising flaky layers of dough filled with real fruit and topped with sweet icing. Consumers buy these believing they are treating their families to a warm, fruit-preserved pastry experience. The investigation into the filling reveals that strawberry paste makes up a tiny fraction of the center. The bulk of the sweet filling is constructed from high fructose corn syrup, refined sugar water, and modified cornstarch, colored with red 42 mimic real fruit preserves. The flaky dough relies on fully hydrogenated palm oil, containing trans fatty acid traces that regulators warn against for cardiovascular health. The fruit orchard was advertised, sugar syrup was delivered, and while pastries are known to be sweet treats, the next brand tricks millions who are actively looking for a healthy, high-protein meal. At number 7 sits the Jimmy Dean Delights Breakfast Bowl, formulated specifically to target health-conscious consumers. This product uses sleek turquoise packaging and bold protein, claims to distance itself from traditional greasy breakfast options. Buyers naturally believe they are making a responsible, low-carb decision that fuels their muscles without the industrial additives. However, looking beneath the protein label reveals that the egg whites and turkey sausage are heavily fortified with sodium nitrate, maltodextrin, and artificial flavor extracts to replace the flavor lost from reducing natural fats. The sodium content alone in a single bowl often exceeds 40% of the total recommended daily limit for an adult. The health halo was crafted. The chemistry lab remained. Sodium hides behind low-calorie claims. The next brand shows how easy it is to hide massive amounts of refined sugar behind a trusted morning mascot. Number 6 is Hungry Jack Frozen Pancakes, famous for its thick, hearty aesthetic and rustic branding. This product markets itself as the ultimate hearty breakfast for hardworking Americans. Parents buy these believing they are saving 30 minutes of griddle time while delivering classic, homemade-style flapjacks to their children. An analysis of the dough formulation shows that these pancakes are held together using refined soybean oil, mono and diglycerides, and artificial vanilla flavoring designed to mask the taste of frozen wheat storage. To prevent the frozen pancakes from becoming soggy when microwaved, manufacturers add sodium aluminum phosphate, a chemical raising agent that leaves residual trace elements in the finished product. The griddle master was remembered. The industrial factory executed. Pancakes are obvious comfort foods, but when a brand claims to bring authentic handheld Tex-Mex flavor to your freezer, the structural tricks get even deeper. Coming in at number 5, El Monterey breakfast burritos dominate the budget frozen aisle. Promoted as a quick filling and authentic blend of eggs, bacon, and cheese wrapped in a fresh tortilla, millions of commuters rely on them for cheap morning fuel. The expectation is simple: real eggs, real meat, and real cheese wrapped in a flour tortilla. The reality of the Mexican-style wrap reveals that the tortilla itself contains up to 20 individual ingredients, including dough conditioners like L-cysteine, bleaching agents, and synthetic preservatives like calcium propionate. The cheese filling is largely composed of processed cheese food, an emulsion of milk solids, whey, and sodium phosphate, rather than aged cheddar or Monterey Jack. The street food heritage was sold. The chemical matrix was wrapped. The deeper you go, the clearer it becomes that cheap price tags hide heavy chemical engineering. But even brands that charge double the price and wear green organic labels aren't always what they seem. And number 4. Amy's Kitchen Breakfast Burrito represents the premier organic alternative found in upscale grocery stores, positioned as a clean, ethical, and wholesome choice for health-minded consumers. People willingly pay premium prices believing every single ingredient is sourced directly from sustainable, unrefined farming practices. While the ingredients are certified organic, closer scrutiny reveals a heavy reliance on high-heat processed organic canola oil and massive doses of added sodium to build flavor profiles. Furthermore, testing shows that the soy protein concentrates used to create the meatless filling undergo intensive processing that strips away natural trace minerals, leaving behind an isolated protein compound that can trigger digestive inflammation. The ethical promise was purchased, the refined compromise was eaten, and that brings us to the top 3 worst brands. Starting with a finger food that targets the most vulnerable consumers in America, young children. Number 3 on the worst list is Farm Rich French Toast Sticks. Marketed directly to families as a fun, fast, and delicious breakfast option for kids on the go. Parents assume these are simply bread slices dipped in egg batter and cinnamon, fried lightly, and frozen for convenience. The investigation found that the bread used is made from highly stripped white flour fortified with synthetic vitamins, soaked in an egg mixture dominated by high fructose corn syrup, palm oil, and artificial cinnamon flavorings. Rather than using real cinnamon and fresh eggs, the golden color and sweet aroma are artificially manufactured using yellow, lake dyes and chemical aromatic compounds to trigger dopamine responses in young children. The childhood classic was remembered. The dopamine trap was set. If fun kids' foods rely on sugar traps, the runner-up for the worst brand relies on something far more deceptive: modern lifestyle branding. Number 2 is Daily Harvest breakfast bowls. Built on slick social media marketing, influencer endorsements, and subscription box convenience, this direct-to-consumer brand convinced hundreds of thousands of busy professionals that they were buying ultra-premium, chef-curated morning superfoods. Behind the clean aesthetics and minimalist packaging lies a history of severe supply chain oversights. Independent lab testing revealed that, despite the high cost, several bowl formulations contained unlisted gums, industrial stabilizers, and novel plant protein concentrates that led to widespread gastrointestinal issues for thousands of consumers, triggering federal supply chain reviews. The high-end lifestyle was showcased. Supply chain checks were skipped, which brings us to the number 1 worst frozen breakfast brand in America. A product so ubiquitous, so deeply trusted, and so aggressive in its healthy marketing that its true composition is almost unbelievable. The number 1 worst frozen breakfast product is the Kellogg's Special K flatbread sandwich. Positioned for decades as the premier weight loss and fitness breakfast for millions of Americans, the Special K brand built its entire empire on the promise of effortless health, weight management, and clean nutrition. When you analyze the flatbread sandwich, you discover a masterclass in industrial food processing. The flatbread alone contains over 30 distinct ingredients, including refined wheat flour, soy oil, dough conditioners, and artificial preservatives. The egg white patty is stabilized with modified food starch and xanthan gum, while the turkey bacon relies on sodium nitrite and smoke flavor concentrate. Instead of a light, natural, weight-conscious meal, consumers are eating one of the most heavily processed food matrices on the entire grocery shelf, engineered purely to survive freezer storage without losing structural integrity. The fitness vision was bought. The ultra-processed reality was served. After analyzing dozens of products that prioritize corporate margins over basic nutrition, a crucial question remains. Is it actually possible to make a frozen breakfast that honors ingredient integrity, uses real whole foods, and delivers true convenience without toxic shortcuts? The answer is yes. But only 3 brands on the market today met every single standard of our transparency test. The third best brand is Van's Simply Delicious Organic Waffles. Unlike traditional frozen waffle brands that rely on refined flours and synthetic dyes, Vans uses simple whole-grain oat and wheat flours, organic fruit purees, and cold-pressed oils. They avoid artificial leavening agents and state every single ingredient sourced directly on the box, making them widely available in standard grocery chains across the country for families seeking real, simple baking. The second best brand is Birch Bender's Organic Toaster Waffles. Created with a focus on functional nutrition, Birch Bender's replaces cheap vegetable oils with high-grade organic coconut oil and uses non-GMO whole-grain flours. Their supply chain is fully traceable. They contain 0 synthetic preservatives or artificial flavors, and their products are available in almost every major supermarket nationwide, proving that mass distribution doesn't require chemical compromises. And the number 1 best frozen breakfast product on the American market today is Applegate Organics Breakfast Sausage and Egg Bites. Applegate completely eliminates synthetic nitrates, filler proteins, and artificial moisture locks. Their sausages are made exclusively from humanely raised, grass-fed, or pasture-raised meats, organic spices, and water. No soy lecithin, no modified cornstarches, and no chemical preservatives. They offer complete supply chain transparency, clean label testing, and can be found in almost every major food retailer from coast to coast. The modern food system is built on a simple calculation: trade your long-term health for short-term convenience. But convenience doesn't have to mean compliance. The next time you walk down the freezer aisle, don't look at the bright slogans on the front of the box. Turn the package over. Look at the oil source. Check for synthetic additives. Count the number of ingredients you can't pronounce, and demand that the food you put into your body is real. Because the most powerful tool for changing the food industry isn't a government regulation. It's the choice you make before you put a box into your cart. Check your freezer today. Read the back label, and make sure what you're eating is worth what you pay for it.